Buffalo, August 20th, 1869. My dear sister, I have only time to write a line. I got your letter this morning and mailed it to Livy. She will be expecting me tonight, and I am sorry to disappoint her so, but then I couldn't well get away. I will go next Saturday. I have bundled up Livy's picture, and will try and recollect to mail it tomorrow. It is a porcelain type, and I think you will like it. I am sorry I never got to St. Louis, because I may be too busy to go for a long time. But I have been busy all the time, and St. Louis is clear out of the way and remote from the world and all ordinary routes of travel. You must not place too much weight upon this idea of moving the capital from Washington. St. Louis is in some respects a better place for it than Washington, though there isn't more than a toss-up between the two after all. One is dead and the other in a trance. Washington is in the center of population and business, while St. Louis is far removed from both. And you know there is no geographical center any more. The railroads and telegraph have done away with all that. It is no longer a matter of sufficient importance to be gravely considered by thinking men. The only centers now are narrowed down to those of intelligence, capital, and population. As I said before, Washington is the nearest to those, and you don't have to paddle across a river on ferry boats of a pattern popular in the Dark Ages to get to it, nor have to clamber up vilely paved hills and rascally omnibuses, along with a herd of all sorts of people after you are there. Secondly, the removal of the capital is one of those old, regular, reliable dodges that are the bread and meat of backcountry congressmen. It is agitated every year. It always has been. It always will be. It is not new in any respect. Thirdly, the capital has cost $40 millions already and lacks a good deal of being finished yet. There are single stones in the Treasury building, and a good many of them, that cost $27,000 apiece, and millions were spent in the construction of that and the patent office and the other great government buildings. To move to St. Louis, the country must throw away $100 million of capital invested in those buildings, and go right to work to spend $100 million on new buildings in St. Louis. Shall we ever have a Congress, a majority of whose members are hopelessly insane? Probably not, but it is possible. Unquestionably, such a thing is possible. Only I don't believe it will happen in our time. And I am satisfied the capital will not be moved until it does happen. But if St. Louis would donate the ground and the buildings, it would be a different matter. No, Pamela, I don't see any good reason to believe you or I will ever see the capital moved. I have twice instructed the publishers to send you a book. It was the first thing I did, long before the proofs were finished. Write me if it is not yet done. Livy says we must have you all at our marriage, and I say we can't. It will be at Christmas or New Year's, when such a trip across the country would be equivalent to murder and arson and everything else. And it would cost $500, an amount of money she don't know the value of now, but will before a year is gone. She grieves over it, poor little rascal. But it can't be helped. She must wait a while until I am firmly on my legs, and then she shall see you. She says her father and mother will invite you just as soon as the wedding date is definitely fixed anyway, and she thinks that's bound to settle it. But the ice and snow, and the long, hard journey, and the injudiciousness of laying out any money except what we are obliged to part with while we are so much in debt, settles the case differently, for it is a debt. Mr. Langdon is just as good as bound for $25,000 for me and has already advanced half of it in cash. I wrote and asked whether I had better send him my note or a due bill, or how he would prefer to have the indebtedness made of record, and he answered every other topic in the letter pleasantly, but never replied to that at all. Still, I shall give my note into the hands of his business agent here, and pay him the interest as it falls due. We must go slow. We are not in the Cleveland Herald. We are 100,000 times better off, but there isn't so much money in it.